take your seats. I'm all about starting on time so we can get you out of here quickly. I am Ms. Felber, your West Athletic Director. You'll be hearing from Ms. Hanks a little bit later tonight, who is the East Athletic Director. First of all, I just want to welcome the class of 2027 and all new students to our West Bend School District. Hopefully your first couple days of high school have been treating you well and you're not getting too lost in this large school. If you ever do, feel free to come down by athletics and we'll help you out. So I just want to go over some of the offerings. Some of you are already signed up for fall sports. Others are going to be signing up for sports through the winter and the spring. So we have 32 varsity sports offerings here at both East and West. If you just look at the list here, these are all of our WIA sponsored sports, and those are the ones that are $150. So if you pay $150 one time, you can do as many sports as you want. And then in this next slide are the club sport offerings we have. And those are $25. Sometimes people get mixed up that they have to pay the $25 on top of the $150, but that is not true. So if you pay $150, you're not paying any more, and you can do all the activities you would like as far as sports goes. So if you've been to a sporting event so far, that's especially the varsity sporting events, and then anytime there's a lower level, so JV2 or JV1 in the same field, like in the field house or in the gym, we'll be charging admission for games. So the whole North Shore Conference uses GoFan digital ticketing. The links to our websites are up there, and we also have the opportunity for anyone in West Bend, if you want to purchase a pass. So the family pass is $100. That will get you into all East and West athletic events the whole entire school year. Or just for one adult, it will be $35. And you can purchase those in the athletic office, or we will have them at the first couple competitions for every sports season. The ticket takers will be selling them there. So you can do that. You can buy it on eFunds and then just pick up your pass there, or you can come on in and visit us and we'll get you the pass. So, but you will notice if you're traveling to, say, Homestead or Nicolay, Whitefish Bay, you will have to get your tickets through the GoFan app. And I encourage you to do it in advance. It's a lot easier to go through that ticket line and just show it on your phone, they hit redeem, and then you can skip right past the line. Our athletic department vision. Our student athletes will learn self-discipline, build self-confidence, and develop skills to handle competitive situations so that they become responsible adults and productive citizens. So social media is big, and our websites, so both East and West have athletic websites, so the wbeastsons.org and then the wbwestspartans.org. All of your coaches' contact information, meaning their email or whatever school phone number that they put on there, is listed on that website so that you can get a hold of them. And, hopefully some of the schedules are listed there too, and you can use that as your source to gather information. We often post on the West Athletics and East Athletics Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram. So if you aren't following us already, please do, because we will continue to post pictures and results from all of our activities. How to register for a sport. If you haven't signed up yet, you need your physical form, and that needs to be dated April 1st, 2022 or later. Create a Family ID account. If you were a Badger student before this and you have a Family ID account, you can use that same account and keep that same login. So right now, you could go in on Family ID and sign up for all your sports for the whole entire year at one time if you'd like. So this is where I'm going to plead for anyone in here who wants to drive the bus for us. I'm sure you heard there is a big bus driver shortage, and we are partnered with Go Right Way. So drivers can make $19 an hour, and you can choose to just drive an athletic team. So if you're sitting in here with a CDL, you're going to become my best friend very fast. So we would love to have bus drivers that know our teams. If you're planning on going to watch a baseball game, no matter what, you might as well get paid $19 an hour to sit in the bleachers and watch the game at the same time. So if we can get more bus drivers, we will then not have to ever get our kids out of school early. That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to pull kids out of class early. Teachers don't want it, students don't want it, that's our priority, obviously, to keep you in class. So if you're interested, or you know anyone interested, please let us know, and we will help you get signed up with Go Right Way. The attendance policy. An athlete must be in school no later than the end of period 4 and attend all scheduled classes thereafter. So we understand extreme circumstances come up. If you have a funeral or something like that, please just talk to Ms. Hanks or myself, and we will work with you on that. But you need to be in school in order to compete or practice. The physical education policy and participation. It drives me bonkers every time I hear someone who's an athlete that is not earning an A in physical education class. You should be the stars of your class. You should be working hard, making sure you're changing for Phi Ed. If you can't change for Phi Ed, there's no reason you're changing for football practice after school. So make sure you are participating and doing well in physical education class. Also, if you are injured and can't participate in Phi Ed, then you can't just go and play in your sport. So you got to make sure that you have the proper medical documentation so you are allowed to participate. The athletic code of conduct that everybody loves to talk about. So this is a 12-month contract that everybody's signing. So when you sign up on Family ID to do any athletics here at the high school, you are committing to not use, possess, purchase, or sell any tobacco products, alcoholic beverages, controlled substances, illegal drugs, drug paraphernalia, vaping, and I can't stress that enough. You're gonna get caught. There's people all over who are going to tell on you. So don't do it. Your parents don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. So make sure you don't get involved in any situations that can get you in trouble, because you won't play in your games if you are caught doing any of that. And no student shall attend an event where the above items are present. Leave right away. If you get to somebody's house and they have something going on that you shouldn't be involved with, you need to call your parents or guardians and make sure you can get out of there. And the other one is nothing unbecoming of an athlete. My best example of that is you're in a fishbowl. So people look up to you, you're role models in the community. And as you continue to grow through our high school programs, our younger students and the youth programs, they're going to be looking up to you, especially when you're wearing your jerseys around town. Make sure you're representing yourself well and representing your team well. Dual sport participation. It's possible to do 2 sports at the same time. Is it hard? Absolutely. But some of our student athletes are able to do it. So we do have a form in the athletic office that you fill out for dual sport participation. Your head coach of the 2 teams you want to do. So right now maybe we have somebody with trail sharks, mountain biking, and cross country. Both coaches sign off. You declare one of your sports as the primary sport, and both coaches have to agree to allow you to be a dual sport athlete. But it is possible. It's just, it is a lot of work and commitment as well. And before I turn it over to Ms. Hanks, just want to put a plug in for the West Bend West Spartans Booster Club. You'll notice we have our Vice President Carrie Guzzi out there selling spiritware tonight. We also have a cool Spartan calendar that we encourage you to buy. I know they're selling those for $20 with all of our student athletes pictured in it. And we have meetings. It is the first Monday of every month at 7 p.m. at Julie's because of Labor Day. This month we will be meeting this coming Monday, September 11th at 7. You don't have to be on the booster board to come and get involved. We would love to have all of you. We encourage everybody to come. We have an awesome fundraiser. It's called Chasing the Chill. That will be April 20th. And last year we raised over 40 grand for the athletic programs. So we would love to see you there. I wish everybody an awesome year, and I'll turn it over to Ms. Hanks.
She saves the fun one for me, the grades. Academic eligibility. One of the things that Ms. Felber and I deal with a lot at the end of each quarter are student athletes that become academically ineligible because of their grades on their most recent grading period. It's very simple. You cannot be a student athlete that has earned an F on your report card and continue full participation. And we try to get this message out, especially to the freshman class, because sometimes that first quarter really sneaks up on freshmen, and that usually is a very heavy grading period for us, where we, in our first quarter is usually where we have the most amount of athletes who become academically ineligible. As the year goes on, it gets fewer and fewer, but we just want to tell you that you are a student first. You remember, playing sports is a privilege, so we expect that you're going to work hard and be dedicated to your studies, at the same time doing that, on the athletic side of things. It's really important for you to stay in tune to where your grades are at. If you are struggling, there are resources. I would encourage you to check with your teachers if you see that your grade is slipping. But it is not too much to expect that we want all of our student athletes just passing at every grade report period. There are rules with 1F versus multiple Fs. If you earn 1F at the end of a grading period, you will sit out 10 consecutive school days, okay, not counting weekends. If you earn more than 1F, you are out 15, okay? And we run all of that through the athletic department. Once we initiate the academic ineligibility period, we have to work with your coaches to alert them that you are no longer eligible for game participation. However, you are expected to attend all practices and perform all duties as you were a member of the team, because you still are. You just get your game participation taken away for that time frame. Okay, so I would encourage you. We know high school, the transition from 8th grade to freshman is a tough transition. Please reach out, use your resources. If you're struggling, Ms. Felber and I can help you. We can connect you with some resources. We can help you however we see that you need. But parents, I would encourage you to stay in tune to their grades, and check in with teachers. And I would encourage all of you to stay and have conversations about where your students are at. I believe the end of first quarter is November 3rd, so that will be your first grading period. So I'll just put that out there for everybody. Social media policy. I'm going to let you read this, but obviously the world that we live in today, and you freshmen are growing up in a very different world than we have. And Ms. Felber referred to the fishbowl. I mean, that is completely true. But I would encourage you students and student athletes that you really think before you put anything out there. And that's really anything that anybody can see that all of a sudden lands in our office, and then we have to deal with it. I understand it's the way of the world, but think before you post. And maybe if you have to think too hard, don't post it. It's in the world we live in today. You have to be aware of all the things out there. You can't watch the news. You can't even be on Instagram or Facebook or anything and not see Twitter, all of the negative things that are happening as it relates to social media. It's the same with student athletes. So we encourage you to always, represent our school, your team, your families, and make sure that you're making good choices, not just, Ms. Felber referred to the athletic code of conduct. This falls right in there. You post something, and it's out there for the world to see, and it is inappropriate in any way, you're not playing, and it's that simple. And it's not a fun part of our job, but we're hoping that if we talk about it enough, that we can at least minimize the amount of negative posts that are out there, or offensive, or insensitive, or inappropriate, okay? So having those conversations at home are really, really helpful. Athletic injuries, this is our segue to our two wonderful athletic trainers that we get to work with. We have Kyle and Wendy, and they are going to enlighten us this evening, remind us all of the things that are important for us to know when we are working with our athletic training staff. So Kyle and Wendy.
Thank you very much, everybody. We'd like to take this opportunity to just do a quick introduction to us. As parents, sometimes you maybe see us on the sidelines and really don't really know what necessarily our role is, when we're here, what's going on, why do they down there, why are they seeing my student athlete or my child. So we'd just like to talk a little about what our services are with Aurora Sports Health, when we are here, things like that. So. Both Wendy and I have been here for quite some time. I've been here for 25 years. Wendy's been here for about 10 years, so we have quite a bit of experience working here. We have over close to 40 years of experience in being professional athletic trainers. Athletic trainers now actually they're required to have a master's program. A master's is required for education. So some people really aren't even sure about an athletic trainer where they have just like they go out there, they have a personal trainer, I don't really understand. So we do have an extensive background in injury care, rehabilitation, and so we do a lot of that here at the high school. Our hours are actually first contacting us. We are actually on both the East and the West webpage, so if you have any questions about your students, feel free to reach out. We see so many athletes coming in the training room every single day. We will not contact you for every single little bump and bruise that they come in to see us for. But if it's more severe, we need to make a referral. For sure, we will definitely contact you. Or if it's concussion related, we will definitely contact you as well to make sure you're aware of it. But if we did not contact you and you have some questions about injury care or anything, please feel free to reach out. Our cell phones are on there. We do get calls all kinds of the day, any time of the day. Since we are not hired by the high school technically, we are hired by Aurora Sports Health. We do not have any office hours here at the high school, so we are, whether we might be at the office or at our homes, but that's perfectly fine. We are used to that. Our hours are usually kind of screwy anyway. We're late at night, and so we're used to having those type of things. So, but our email, all of our stuff is actually on the website that you can access at any time. So Aurora Sports Health, we do have quite a few different area coverages. So we have over 50 in southeast Wisconsin. So the nice thing is we do cover a lot of our conference already. So when you go play basketball, volleyball, football, away like in Weiss by Spade, Nicolay, all that, we have athletic trainers there as well, and they communicate with us. We communicate with them to handle the injury. So those are nice. Even those schools that we don't have contracts with, we have good relationships with those athletic trainers, so we try to communicate back and forth when we have those injuries. So they know what to expect when the athlete comes and sees them in the afternoon, and we know what to expect when we come and see them the next day. If you have an injury that's actually away, and you maybe, is maybe pretty severe and significant, the athletic trainer recommended you seeing a doctor, perfectly fine. Just make sure that you touch base with us because we document all these things, and we want to make sure that we're getting you back safely. Our athletic training medical facility is here at the high school. It's actually located next to the athletic departments. Both those over, if you know the building now, the South Gym. So we're right in that hallway. All the students, student athletes that have signed up for a sport are welcome to have care there. Okay, we have a lot of different tools that we can use for rehab and getting them back in safely. So just because we may not be at every sport at every time on the sidelines, all of our athletes are welcome to use the facility, and make sure you come and see us if you need that. The role of our athletic trainer is obviously multiple facets. We have to do a lot of different things. So event coverage. So typically our hours are 2:30 to 6 o'clock for training room hours. But then some of the days we may have events on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. So a lot of times around 4:30 we may not be in the training room to provide some care. So just so you're aware of it. So we are around with 2 schools like this. It is pretty busy, and we have multiple sports going on all at the same time. Injury care, prevention, assessment, and rehab are basically our main responsibilities. When you're coming in, we'll evaluate your injury, and it can be a determining factor if we can provide the care here or we need to refer out. Okay? So if we refer out, we need to make sure that if you see a physician, we do need a note for clearance from that physician. Okay? So that's a note that they need to be out for 2 weeks with this ankle injury or whatever. We can still provide injury care for it and injury rehab, but we do need some documentation from that physician for sure. Okay? Medical referrals, we are able to get into our specialists in a timely manner. So like our orthopedic care, our expectation is trying to get you in within 24 hours of injury. So we have a great working relationship with our orthopedic doctors that we can call them at any time and expedite that referral. Safe play, education, and resources, really just education. Education with athletes on concussion care, nutrition, and things that they need to know to be the best they can be. Sport performance enhancement. During the summertime, we actually run a performance enhancement program. So some of the freshmen right now for football, you've seen us all summer. We run it throughout the whole summer. All athletes can attend that. So we do it, basically there's probably about 6 weeks of speed and agility and strength training trying to prevent some injuries from occurring. Safety obviously is our number one priority. We want to make sure your students are as safe as possible when they are going back on the field. We actually earned a Safe Sports School Award from the National Athletic Training Association in conjunction with the West Bend High School and Aurora Sports Medicine, Aurora Sports Health. So there's a sign out in the field house. If you've ever seen that, it just is our recognition of things that we can do. You can read some of the requirements. We meet annually, Wendy and I meet annually with the fire department and go over scenarios of emergency care, on-field care, and how to handle that. So we have a great working relationship with our fire department. So if there's a situation where it's a cervical spine injury or heat injury, we are on the same page as them, and we work as a team with our fire department and emergency crew to make sure that we're getting them back safely. I'm going to hand it over to Wendy now. She's going to talk briefly just about our concussion management program, so you're all on the same page.
Around concussions. WIAA also aligns with those as well. So heaven forbid you do get a concussion, we always want you to follow up with us. So even if you see a physician and they say you're cleared, you still have to do a progression back to play. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So always make sure that you're following up with that. Just like he said, any injury you see a physician, still make sure that you come to see us because we have to document all of that. So these are just a couple of the symptoms of concussions on there, and you will also sign off on that when you register on Family ID. Anytime you suspect a concussion, hit your head or a blow to the body. So a concussion is not just a hit to the head; it could be a hard enough blow to the body. I've seen, dancers get concussions. I've seen cross-country kids get concussions. So it is not just like those big, like when you think you can't just be football or just be soccer. So when in doubt, we sit them out. So we evaluate concussions the same day, and then usually we'll pull them from activity that same day, and we reevaluate the next day. So the nice thing here is that we do, for contact sports, we do concussion baseline testing. So we use, it's called SWAY. It's an app, it's a neurocognitive test. So it is good for 2 years unless you get a concussion, then you take a new baseline. But we get a baseline on you, so that heaven forbid you do get a concussion, then we compare you to you. So that's just the app that we use. And then everybody recovers a little bit differently, but what we do is they follow up with us daily, we monitor their symptoms, we do have like a concussion management plan that we always follow. We always say, make sure you eat right, make sure you drink right. I don't want you to, have symptoms just because, you're not eating right. I don't need, you to have a ton of caffeine or you're not eating right. And then we do that progression back to play, which I'll talk about too. So let's see. So if you were to go to the physician, the doctors, and then they order like a CT, so that does not necessarily mean that you don't have a concussion, that just means that you may not have, there's no diagnostic tool that says for sure that you have a concussion or not. Like the CT would be like a brain bleed, so that's what they're ruling out. It's not necessarily saying that you don't have a concussion. And then we look at like 22 different signs and symptoms of a concussion. And then there's a few things out there that say like they prevent concussions. There's nothing really out there right now that say that they can do that. So usually kids recover pretty quickly. Most concussions we can handle in-house, so they don't necessarily always need to see a physician. We can help you guys make that decision whether or not. If within 2 weeks we're just not getting better or starting to get worse, then we refer out to concussion specialists. Sometimes when kids have maybe ADD, depression, anxiety, or any learning disabilities, we take that into account too when they have a concussion. That can complicate things a little bit, but we always take that into consideration. So this just kind of has that little return to play. I don't expect you to know it all, but we progress you back to play. So the first day that you feel great is not the first day that you get to play a game. So typically they have to be symptom-free for at least 24 hours, meds-free for at least 24 hours, pass our sway test, and then we will start that progression back to play. So when I talked about that we refer out to concussion specialists, the nice thing is with Aurora that we have quite a few of them out there if we need to use them. And then also, how it says at the bottom, it says that fast track hotline. So that's when Butters was talking about how we try to get them within 24 to 48 hours in to see a physician. That's one of the numbers that we call, or we reach right out to our orthopedic doctors. And free injury screening. So this can even be for mom and dad. So the Aurora offers free injury screenings for injuries. Sometimes if you call us, we can work something out for here, but then for you guys out there, then that's always in caution. Okay, perfect. Awesome, have a good season. Hopefully you don't need to ever meet us in person, but if you do, we're here for everybody, so.
Okay, believe it or not, there are rules and procedures that we have in place, which is all of this information is in the athletic code of conduct, but there are unexcused absences, excused absences in the athletic world as well. This kind of takes you through what our rules are. We understand things come up. We did all of that. We just ask that there's open communication, thorough communication from families to coaches to teams and all of that. You can see here what the rules are. Unexcused, we consider that if you do not have, your coach is not aware that you are going to be absent. Okay, and we get into these situations where the communication, something happened in the lines of communication. We have communication with our coaches on these types of situations, and if we need to get, Ms. Belvar and I need to get involved, we can. But we prefer that if we know the rules and follow the rules, then these things, are taken care of at your team level. Excused absences, these again, it's all about communication. If your son or daughter is going to miss a practice, miss a game, miss a couple practices, usually we have preseason meetings before every start of every sports season. That would be a perfect time if you are aware of situations that they're going to miss. If they're unexpected, it really is, your coaches share all of their contact information with you. I would encourage you to alert the coach as soon as you know. And every coach has a standard of communication, operation within their program. We just ask that we maintain the awareness of if your athlete is going to be gone, the reason for them being gone, just so that we always know what is happening, okay? This kind of is a continuation of that, the vacation policy. We understand that there's certain times in the school year that work better for families to go on vacation. It's just, again, that communication early on in the season. If you know prior to the start of the season, perfect, share it with your coach. If it's on an unexpected trip and something exciting happened, you want a trip to Disney World, again, just those lines of communication, those are all things that are very manageable and flexible, as long as we are all communicating about it and our coaches know and we know exactly the situation. Oh, the roles of parents and guardians. Okay, that's why you're here tonight. You're very important people in the lives of our student athletes. We have 3 main bullet points. The first one being respect the officials. I think, and I'll go back to when I started with social media, in the world that we live in, if you watch professional sports on TV, if you watch college level sports, it is always in the news when things go poorly at a sporting event. Sometimes it's with players and players arguing and fighting. Sometimes it's players to officials, coaches to officials. But we just don't want those types of situations to be showing up at our athletic contests. We want you to try your hardest to be the most supportive and encouraging fan that you can. I will tell you that the official shortage is real. Some sports are worse than others. We are learning at all of our WA annual meetings that the official shortage is getting significantly worse each year. A lot of that is retirement, but a lot of that is great. I mean, these officials have been around for years and years and have dedicated, some of their pastimes to being an official, but we just do not have young officials coming into the business. Why? Well, what we're learning is, believe it or not, the biggest reason why officials either are leaving, and if they come in, and it's also quite common now where officials will come in, work a couple years, and then they don't want to be an official anymore. I think you can probably figure out why officials leave the business, but we just do not want those situations at our sporting events. We have maintained your dignity under any circumstance, participate in positive cheers for our teams. That's really all we're asking. We're asking you to be positive role models. We're asking you to be positive cheerleaders for your student athletes, for their teammates, for our coaching staff. Recognize good plays. What we try to teach our students, even in our student sections at our sporting events, is cheer for your team, not against your opponent. I mean, if we try to keep it on the positive side, things just, the nature of and the environment is just better for everybody. And being a positive role model through your own actions. We don't like to throw parents out of sporting events. Believe it or not, it's not really anything that we look forward to. Have we had to do it? Yes, and it's unfortunate. But it's the message that we have to hold ourselves to high standards. We have to be these positive role models in our student athletes' lives at all costs and at all times. Communication expectations. I talked a lot about communication in like the unexcused excused absences vacation, and that really is a really important part of your student athlete being involved in athletics. And so we do have kind of a procedure, a process in place to help us, handle things accordingly and, smoothly. So here is our procedure. The first step is really the most critical step, and I can't emphasize this enough. These student athletes they're growing and maturing, and one of the things that we want to help them understand is how to advocate for themselves. And one of the hardest things for teenagers to do is to approach adults when maybe they're feeling upset or discouraged or like they failed. or if they're just unhappy. And we really want our student athletes to develop and, work on the relationship with their coach. And that is one of the most important relationships that they can have if they are involved in our athletic programs. So if your son or daughter comes home from a practice and you're sitting at the dinner table and he or she's really frustrated or sad or just really upset, please, the first step, encourage them to talk to their coach. Encourage them to have that one-on-one. Yes, it's hard. It's hard to have those uncomfortable situations, those conversations. It's hard for teenagers to do that. Sometimes it's hard for adults to do that. But please encourage them to take that first step. If they do that and they still are feeling the same, then it's absolutely appropriate for you to request a conference with the coach or the staff. And then if that you're still not feeling it resolved or you still have issues, then we can all sit down together and try to move it forward. Okay? But again, that first step is really a critical one. The Sons Booster Club. We meet same place as the Spartans Booster Club. We meet at Julie's, but we meet on the third Monday of the month, and we meet at 6:30. We are looking for more people to get involved. It's not like you have to attend every single meeting every single month. That's really not the only thing you can do. We have, for example, Booster Club members selling spiritware tonight. We'll sell it at football games. We'll sell it at basketball games. We'll have fundraising events. Those types of things are where you can really get out there and help support. Our Booster Clubs give back to our athletic programs tremendously and as often as they can, and to teams specifically. So any way that you can be an active member, it doesn't have to be every single event that we have, but please, I would strongly encourage you to try to give your time and talents to our Booster Clubs. We thank you for coming. I mean, a lot of people are leaving while I'm talking. I must have upset some people probably. No places to go, yes, I get it. But thank you, freshmen, students.